Thank you, sir. Dr. Vidhu Kumar, Dr. Sevasaram, and Dr. Bijal for the wonderful session. To keep pace with the timing, there is no tea break. The next section will start immediately. Topic will be by Dr. Arun Kumar.
We are heading to an interesting session on rehabilitation, focusing on homeless persons and mental illness by Dr. N. Arun Kumar. I welcome you to the dais, sir. The session will be chaired by Dr. G. Swaminath and Dr. M.P. Radhakrishnan. I welcome Dr. G. Swaminath and Dr. M.P. Radhakrishnan. Dr. G. Swaminath, alumnus of NIMHANS, he is in psychiatric service for 4 decades, past president of South Zonal Branch. For the past 30 years, he is providing mental health services to tribal population near Mysore. Founder and trustee of Chittadhamma Charitable Trust, HT Kvata, Karnataka. Involved in rescue and rehabilitation of homeless mentally ill. Dr. M.P. Radhakrishnan completed MBBS from JJMMC, Davangere, DPM from KMC Manipal. He is currently working as professor and head of psychiatry Azizia Medical College, Kollam. Founder and secretary and president, Kollam Psychiatric Society, president, IPS, Kerala chapter.
Yeah. I think this is going to be an interesting session because it's a very challenging attempt by any person to deal with homeless persons with mental illness and to ensure that they are rehabilitated and finally reintegrated with their families is the core principle behind the management of homeless persons with mental illness. One of the things, major challenges is that when you have a person with who's homeless and picked up from the streets, which we call rescue, after making a diagnosis and immediately restituting him in terms of physical as well as his mental symptoms, his rehabilitation is the one which is going to, because he would have lost a lot of his skills being away from his family, as well as he would have lost a lot of his skills thanks to the scourge of the major illness, psychiatric illness, which has resulted in homelessness. And this particular rehabilitation is a challenge to those who deal with people with homeless persons with mental illness. And I am very happy to call upon Dr. Arun Kumar, who will be introduced by my colleague.
I am happy to introduce Dr. Arun. He is into this field for many years. He is consultant psychiatrist and director of Atma Hospitals and Research Center and Tiruchirappalli. And he is a guide and teacher for DNB training in Atma Hospitals. He is the General Secretary of Trichy Association of Psychiatrists and currently Treasurer, Indian Psychiatric Society, Tamil Nadu State Branch. And his areas of interest are general psychiatry, rehabilitation in psychiatry, and he is also passionate about painting, art in psychiatry. Tried a few abstract paintings related to various psychiatric illness. I am sure this will be a wonderful session. And I invite Dr. N. Arun Kumar to start the session. Thank you.
Good morning, respected IPS National President, Office Bearers of Indian Psychiatric Society, South Zone Branch, and our Indian Psychiatric Society, Tamil Nadu, and our delegates, senior persons, my friends, my colleagues. This hour is dedicated to all good-hearted people who have worked for homeless person with mental illness. Well, this hour is about rehabilitation, focusing on homeless person with mental illness that I am working for the last 16 years. So now just take a close look on this picture. There's a car which is already gone, and there's a car which has been parked, and one person has stepped down from the car, and he has been trying to look not just pity on the person who is sitting in the street, not just sympathized him, but empathized him. So that's why that godly yellow mark around his head. Well, so he is none other than our President Sir, Dr. Ramakrishnan. 15 years before, he had stepped down from his car and took pity on, not empathized on this wandering, homeless, mentally ill person, took to his hospital, bathed them, medicated them, and rehabilitated them and reunited them with the family. So next 40 minutes or so, I'll be taking quickly into what all we have been doing in the last 15 years. So this is our home. You can see 3 or 4 buildings, and the blue one is the rehabilitation center. So it is about Trust Shantivanam, Trichy. So outline of my presentation: who and why, challenges about admission, initial management, rehabilitation, reunion, follow-up and summary. So who we take as homeless? So 2 to 5% of our population are suffering from one form of or other mental disorders, and 1% has major mental disorder. 15% among them has, are homeless, which is up to 4 lakh people or even more wandering mentally ill in India. And right now, I would say it is reached up to 1 million because of the COVID or so. So how a mentally ill will turn into homeless? So an acute or a chronic psychotic episode or a mood disorder, so if it is untreated aggression, they wander out, they move away from the family or friends, and the disease progress, and there is a decline in the cognition, lose their identity. So the poor self-care, poor nutrition, and drives them towards the corner of a street. Usually they are found under a flyover or a bus stop or a bus shed or walking on a corner of the highway. So now the picture is, suppose if they are walking to and fro into the highway, they are looked. But if they are in the corner of a highway, they are overlooked. So if they are troubling to the public, then only some NGO identifies them or some police person will identify them and try to bring back to us. So unfortunately, if they are not disturbing public, so they'll be just wandering from Trichy to Madurai or Chennai, wherever. Okay. So in the corner of the highway. And that's for months to years together. So the cognitive impairment, the nutritional deficiency, the unhygienic condition causes irreversible brain damage to them. And not only that, it will cause more physical abuse, sexually transmitted disease, physical illness, and increasing their mortality. So, as I said, they have been found in a bus stop with all these multiple rags, sort of many ornaments, many clothes, wearing 3 or 4 clothes in the hot summer, etc. And why they have been brought to the pub with us? It is only when they are aggressive or in a woman in a disrobed state. So this is very common. We can find many people who have been brought to us when they are in a disrobed state or disturbing traffic. But if they are ignored, if they are not causing any harm to the people. But why we have to treat? It is, they are our brothers and sisters, they are humans, and we are the right person to treat. See, we psychiatrists are the right person to treat. We alone can differentiate between who is a beggar, who is a homeless person, who is a destitute, etc., etc. And why we don't treat is mainly because, okay, our ignorance and our, we find very difficult, especially when the legal process is involved. And it is not just the psychiatric component alone, it is the medical component, the surgical component, orthopedic component. I mean, most of these patients have comorbid medical or surgical problems. Not only that, the cost of management is very high. So sometimes we'll get into patient where we cannot reunite. So that time we have to keep the patient for life. So you cannot just put them in the street again. So what are the challenges which we face during admission is, so this is an outline of Mental Health Act in 1987, that is the police has to file an FIR, missing FIR, then magistrate reception order, 2 psychiatrists, and then hospitalization, rehabilitation. And this is the latest Mental Health Care Act 2017, Section 89, 1 psychiatrist and then one medical officer or a mental health professional. We have to report to the district mental health review board during admission, during hospitalization, during discharge, and during reunion also. And if it extends beyond 30 days. But in reality, what happens is getting this reception order is very tough. We don't get, police person doesn't put FIR. They said that, is he a culprit? Is he done any crime? So why should I put FIR? The problem is that if the police put FIR, files an FIR, it is his responsibility to reunite the patient. But they don't want to do that. So they just bring the patient to us with a letter like this, and the public are still more intelligent. They don't come if it is a legal system is involved. So right now we are getting more number of referrals from district collector, senior police officials, and DDRO. So where it is a little safer. What are the types of homeless people they bring to us is patients with dementia, and then deserted women, and sometimes substance intoxication and withdrawal also. Many times we have seen special child like this, adolescent, pregnant mother and infant. Well, and patient is in delirium condition, emaciated and crippled, chained like this, severely wounded, severely abused, pregnant mother, and we had 4 patients with HIV positive and 1 patient with COVID positive also. So thus, the last 16 years, our center, we have rescued up to 641 clients, and we have reunited 536, 30 passed away, 26 absconded from our center also, and currently 50 people are there with 2 people in our Atma hospital. The sources of referral is predominantly police, public, NGO, as I said, some collector, panchayat members, and other NGOs also. Predominantly female. Why we prefer women is, as I said, they are at the more risk of sexually abused. And most of them are from rural population. Diagnosis, initially we diagnose as psychosis unspecified or psychosis NOS. Subsequently, we change the diagnosis into schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, acute psychosis, and very few cases of severe depression and psychotic symptoms would also be found. Dementia up to 9. And most of them are anemic. 9 had HIV, 3 had HIV with pregnancy, and burns wound, 2 cases of burns wound, fractured limb 14, tuberculosis, stroke. As I said, 4 patients were pregnancy. We followed them and then we transferred to some other child welfare committee. So what happens during the initial management, we keep them in our hospital for 15 to 30 days. And then subsequently, as their clinical condition improves, we'll be shifting them transferring them to Trust Shantivanam. They'll be there for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years or more, as long as they tell their address, as long as we find their how to reunite them. These are certain pictures where we could find patients in a very bad state. Okay, well, what happens once they are in Shantivanam, they try to abscond, they try to do some ISH, and they'll try to assault other patients, where we have to again bring back to the main hospital. And emerging medical and surgical illness, they'll have some appendicitis or cataract formation or many such similar conditions do happen. We have a weekly physician visit, who is none other than my wife, who will visit every week and takes care of the medical component of our patients. And as a month later, the patient improves, converse with us, they demand discharge, and or they try to abscond. So as I said, current status 50 plus 2, and predominantly schizophrenia. We can see male 5.6 years with us, and comorbidities. Only 4 patients are having diabetes. 11 had thyroid, 2 cataract. Recently we did surgery. So the BMI, most of our patients' BMI is average is 24, and female is 25. So we had maintained their body mass index. and most of them are on risperidone, olanzapine, clozapine, amisulfate. Haloperidol we generally give as a PRN medications. Why? Because it causes more EPS and rehabilitation is very difficult. So what are the challenges during rehabilitation? So, well, we had classified our patients into 3 categories. One is low functioning, average functioning, or high functioning based on most of our clinical interview, observation, and idea scale. So in that, so low functioning is 14 people are there, average functioning 25, and high functioning 11. So the focus on low functioning is like improving self-care, self-management, diet, socialization, and medication compliance. So in that way, where they are there with us, especially this has been done by other patients. So one patient will take care of the other patient. So predominantly people are in that average functioning, where whose self-care is better, and they have some residual symptoms, and they'll be waiting for reunion. So the common thing what we do is paper cover or medicine cover. We can say that it is very easy and very easily trained to any person. And what we do is we just purchase papers which is of left out, previous day's newspaper. So which is we get in a lot in a very less price. And we have so far had contact with 5 different hospitals, and these hospitals will purchase paper cover, medicine cover with us. So patients are engaged with this, especially who are in low average functioning. And this is a medicine bag also. And as previously I said, most of our patients are working, rural population, and they are hence working in a Goshala will be very easier for them. So we have 13 cows, 10 cows, 13 calf, and 1 milkman. So the rest all work has been done by our patients alone. They're very happy to do that, and they clean the premises, and some activities they do give for the average functioning. Agriculture. So this is also another important rehabilitation work, where we could find patients are very happy to do these works than little higher one. So this is our sugarcane field. We had a good yield this year, and various vegetables also there. We have now grown trees also, and kitchen work. So we have only 6 IMRs working round the clock who will actually take care of the patient, also do kitchen work. So the most of the cooking, cutting, cleaning, everything will be done by our patients alone. And cleaning liquid, we are self-sufficient in preparing cleaning liquid for ourselves. So no need to buy anywhere. So this is how we try to curtail the cost of expenditure. At the same time, we'll try to engage our patients. Gardening work, washing clothes. Again, they wash not just their own clothes, but also others. And vermicompost, the cow dung and all the other leaves and other things, they put it in such a bin and put the earthworms, and after a week or so they have a yield, and which we can use it for ourselves and also sell for the other local farmers and all. This is a pen stand preparation. Now we are coming to little higher forms, where normal cardboard cut into pieces, and then Fevicol has been stuck, and we made nice pen stands which has been now given free of cost to all the delegates who have been come here. And it is really sturdy, make use of it. And well, this is an areca leaf plate. So this is a dried one. So what we have to do is we have to sun dry it, and then we have to bring it to the place, and that would cut into different sizes. And what we have collaborated is, so they bring the areca plate to us, we have to give the finished product. So they'll give us a price for it. So we don't need to go here or there. We don't need to go there to the market to sell all. So the raw material they'll give, we have to give the finished products. And no wastage also. So you can see the bigger plate, smaller plate, and small plate also. So everything is useful. And but one thing we had some problem. The initial days, one guy puts his hand in that machine, and he had a fracture or so. So burnt fingers. So since then, what we have done is we have made sure that trained staff is there. and the patients will be doing all other work. And one person had a snake bite while collecting hay, and still he's better, but he's not working now after that. And there are small injuries while doing in the kitchen. Now coming on to the what rehabilitation work we do give for a person who is in high functioning. As I said, their self-care is very good. They help other patients, they help other staff, and waiting for reunion. So now you can question me why still they are waiting for reunion, that I'll come back little later. So most important thing, caring others' patients. They lead a group, they help other staff, and they are very active in sports and recreational activity. So they do craft, he's a craft, tailoring work, painting work, and language skills. So these are the crafts which our staff members will go and teach them, and the finished products we bring it to Atma Hospital where we sell it to the other patients. And these are certain bangle designs, small plastic bangle that can be made into nice with silk thread and then all this work, so which will, plastic bangle will cost around 2 rupees. We can make up to 20 or even 200 rupees worth of bangles. These are certain wire bags and other things. And visitors love to purchase that. And tailoring, pillow cover tailoring, easier one, so no need to do some measurements. And cloth bag, so preparing cloth bag is after this plastic ban and all. So cloth bag is very easy to prepare also. And this is a floor mat machine which we have, not that much going on. Embossed painting, this is nothing but a sheet we purchase for 50 rupees or so, but we can sell it for 200. And most important, each painting will take at least 1 week for the our patient to do it. Very slowly they have to do. They'll sit for a long time, and it improves the color. And most of these components are, as I said, it appears more of religious one, so that imparts religious this one also to them. And people love to purchase. People who are visitors love to purchase the plain one. And art in cloth bag, these are certain techniques which I have been introduced to our patients, where the normal cloth bag which cost around 10 rupees or so, which after doing a small art in that, okay, especially the left out paint, so the cost increases to 100 or so. So that's why we can give more yield to the institute. And this is Areca plate art, which again I taught to our patients. It appears very glamorous, but not much of difficulty. You have to just put oil paint, put this, shake left and right, and it will smudge, dry it, put some animals and all these twigs. So it again carries 5 or 10 rupees. Areca plate will become 100 rupees worth art. Similarly, this pen stand also, which I made. Okay, so I'm teaching now our students, our inmates, where we can paint and make the pen stand very valuable. And another art design which we teach to our patients, especially high functioning, is this mandala art, which is nothing but they are available online, and which is actually used by the yoga teachers, where we have to just draw with pencils, pencil colors or sketch on. So it will improve their concentration, attention, and these colors adds more life to their happiness. These are certain samples which patients have drawn. We have to make sure that it is only through color pencils, not sketch. And well, to improve their language, newspaper reading, article sharing. Article writing is something like we'll give 4 or 5 newspapers to them, and we'll ask them to collect one type of article. And there is a library, and this is a peer learning. And this is one lady who was a homeless lady, and now she is doing her B.Ed. Okay, so we have there is a college nearby. Okay, and through that we have been she's graduated B.Ed after coming to our institute. Again on online class. And this guy is very fond of Agatha Christie novels, and we just provide them. And this Sudoku and crosswords very difficult with our patients. Try to 1 or 2 guys. physical activity, most important. So we ensure that at least 3 kilometers of walk in the morning, that is around 5 to 6 round in the ground, and yoga, indoor and other sports activities. This is the yoga which people, so we had one yoga teacher around 5 to 6 years back. So he came for only 1 month and then he left, but still that yoga has been going on. So our patients will lead the yoga team. And these are sports and leisure activities which is very active during the evening hours. We have cricket, basketball, volleyball team now. And musical dance, this is also very good, where our staff will start, there is a huge speaker where people will dance individually, cheering up them. This is an annual day function, and yearly twice we take them to excursion. Now, these are all summing up about what we did as a part of rehabilitation. Now, how we reunited them. It is very time consuming, and often only the name of the village has been revealed. 8 patients were reunited after 10 years of our care. Many failed attempts, most commonly mental retardation, dementia, certain orphans who will stay with long. We won't be knowing who will be staying for lifelong, who will be we can reunite within a day. We have reunited dementia patient within a day, and a normal schizophrenic patient who has improved very well are staying with us for long. So what we face is poor cooperation, acceptance from the family members. Often there is only one family member. Example, just examine a married sister to take care of elderly patients. We have collaborated with Shraddha, an organization in Mumbai. So through them we have able to reunite 64 patients, North Indian patients. So it's a very easy one. So as I said, 365 were rural, urban 126, and suburban 45. So northern part of India was 64, Tamil Nadu 413, Karnataka 12, Kerala 7, Andhra Pradesh 5, and Sri Lanka 1. And as I know all these languages, I can speak Kannada, Telugu, and Hindi, and Gujarati also. So I will be able to easily identify from which the patient comes from, and I can collect and can help our staff people. Well, once we go there, the family members don't accept. They try to run away from us, or they won't be available. They have been moved to other village, or there is a very elderly parents, and the brother-in-laws don't accept, whether it is a male patient or a female patient. The brother-in-laws don't accept, and sometimes we are aware that they are going to walk away from the home. So I congratulate these two guys, Dina Dayalan and Hari Bhaskar, who had reunited 311, and this guy for 105 so far. These are certain reunion photos. Well, so again look at this picture. She is a granddaughter, very elderly parents and grandparents in a thatched roof. Okay, so what are we going to do after reunion? Why should we reunite such parents? But at the same time, these parents want the girl also. Okay, they are not able to look after her, but at the same time, okay, they want the girl also, and she wants to be with them also. These are certain reunited photos. Well, during follow-up, so we try to follow up once we reunite. Around 40 families were contacted. Fortunately, 20 are there with the family, 5 are working, 15 are wandered out. So what they said is, you brought back the burden. They cursed us. Okay, and another important thing, the patient themselves has another component is wandering. Okay, which is, I don't know where it is in the psychopathology. The wandering component is there. So patient just want to wander out, go out. And what they expect, so even after reunion, even after taking them back, they are happy. For after a few months, when the patient becomes symptomatic, they'll ask us to put the patient back into Shantivanam. And saying that he is not working, we are not affordable to care them, and no one is there to look after med, etc. This is another lady who wanted to live individually. So though she had a family, but the family was not ready to accept her, and then she was not willing to be with us also. She had improved very well. So she is still now living individually in working in a hotel or so. Then support, what support we have? Public support, public help us like anything. They sponsor almost all 365 days we have some sponsors. Initially we had very tough time. Now we are getting sponsors, food sponsor, clothes sponsors, and we are providing only vegetarian food. And media covers sentimental issues only on page 3. That's the problem. Police are very supportive in the sense they don't give a reception order, but rather they'll give a letter, all things which we ask. They're very friendly also. And they only bring the patient. Politicians, again, very friendly, very encouraging speech. They do sponsor a little bit, but we, with the help of them, we try to reunite our patients. Similarly, celebrities also. And support from the government. So they help in license and issuing disability certificate. We have Aadhaar card for all our patients. We have vaccinated all our patients. And we even brought voting rights, and they voted in this last Tamil Nadu elections also. Well, celebrities invited during annual day functions, and they boost up the awareness. Supports from other NGOs, there are various other NGOs which we, as I already said, Shraddha one, and this HIV patients, this child destitute women, and certain very elderly patients, they have been taken care by these people. Apollo Hospital is giving us up to medications worth up to 60,000 per month, and not only medications, injections, antibiotics, dressing materials, and so on. Other medical specialties, fracture patients are treated by our friendly orthopedicians. So it is free of cost, and as I said, but patients has to be admitted there. So they'll charge only the bed charge or something like that, very minimal charge. So that's why we are very happy. All our friendly hospitals, we have tie-up with many hospitals around Trichy, where we do surgery procedures. So even recently 2 cataract was done completely free of cost. And they praise our activities during meetings and conferences through sponsor. Well, guidance from our fellow psychiatrists. They praise our activity, they sponsor, and provide critical inputs when needed. Support from our own staffs, both extremes. Few are dedicated, and many does work only when compelled and ordered, and we have to sit with them. Critics from others, as long as things are going on well, it's no problem. But when there is some unfortunate event, especially death or escape, so then there is a problem. And the most important is this miscommunication. So the sponsors will tell something, and then our people will communicate something else. What all we need is ease of admission process, collaboration from other NGOs, collaboration from government officials, support from government hospitals, both medical and surgical. Summarizing, so wandering mentally ill or homeless mentally ill is infrequently discussed topic, and is tedious involuntary admission procedure, increased cost of management make us to overlook. The growing population, aggravating stress, increases the incidence of psychiatric illness, and lack of adequate mental health services together with lack of awareness, mainly in rural areas. We are getting more number of wandering patients or homeless patients thrown into the street. So yet with the proper medical care, not just psychiatric care, medical care, proper housing, proper occupational training, we can bring them to decent life with self-dignity. The poverty, social stigma, lack of adequate support from significant others, especially caregivers, to feel burdened and even let them go. So what happens when their family members are not there, when the patient is more troublesome, they even send the patient, you just get lost. So what we have to do is, psychiatrists should form a fulcrum around whom other professionals, volunteers should form an organization to bring back the dignity and self-respect to those unfortunate citizens of our society. So our theme campaign is support, not sympathize, mentally ill. I thank Atma Hospitals over the last 15 years, what they treat free of cost for all psychiatric emergencies for these homeless mentally ill patients. Our nursing staff, patient care staff, psychiatrists, psychiatric social workers or RMOs will admit patients, start the initial treatment. So for 15 to 30 days, patients are being treated free of cost. And these are our staffs from Trust Shantivanam. And thank you. This is a person who has been reunited after 10 years. The mother has been seen the son after 10 years, and this is a happy moment. Thank you one and all. Thank you for the patience listening, and thank you IPS South Zone.
Hello.
Thank you, Dr. Arun Kumar. This is a wonderful story of Shantivanam, which has started and has been continuously providing succor to these homeless persons with mental illness. And is what has been enumerated now by Dr. Arun Kumar is a glimpse of their multifarious activities, quite active, and with the focus of being on rehabilitation. I am not surprised that the number of activities which take place, the only thing is that including sports, going on vacations, going on, all of them tend to improve the morale of both the caregivers as well as the patients, and improve communication between them. And one such outing can also see that you can reunite various of the patients to their families, because incidentally, while taking one of our patients from Chittadama to one place, he immediately recognized the street and recognized the place, and we were able to put them. So something like that can also occur. I am quite floored by the activity of Shantivanam, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. And I place this topic for discussion, question, clarification. Yeah, please come. Identify yourself and ask the question.
I'm Dr. Mahesh from Aram Hospital. It was a wonderful presentation, sir. The Kant Mental Health Act says that we cannot keep the patients just for the homeless purpose alone. Especially when you have treated people with the mental health illness symptoms, once they become stable and symptom-free, how do you justify keeping them in the rehab centers for a long period of time, especially to the Mental Health Review Board? So we need a clarification.
What the board is asking us to send a report of who are the patients are been there, okay, beyond 30 days. So we have to just renew that every 30 days, that these are the list of the patients which we have, and why we are not able to find their family. Okay, and we are not moral to send the patient back to the street. That okay, your treatment is over, now you can get discharged, you can go over wherever you want. Even if the patient insists that yes, just leave me, okay, I just want to live alone in the street. So that again we cannot do morally. So in that case, we might try as much as possible to reunite the patient with the family, and the rest of the patients will be with us. Still, we have only 50 patients.
If the patient tries to leave the ward, can we keep them against their wish, especially because of the homelessness?
All the 50 patients, actually, even if you open the door, they don't go away right now. Okay, so that's one thing.
Then the issue of mental capacity comes, whether they are understanding the full implications of being in the ward.
You're right, sir. So, mean to say that they don't have that insight level of 5 or 6. I had some mental illness, now I don't have, just leave me. Okay, which doesn't mean to say that they have a full mental capacity to assess themselves.
One of the things which we did was to send our patients who recovered, and we were not able to identify their families, into government destitute homes, which were run by. So we can do that, to send them to places which are there. But you cannot leave them to the street, whether they are homeless, whether they are mentally a person with mental illness or not. because once they are on the streets, the other act, like Anti-Beggary Act and all, will come into force. And whoever is there who are homeless will be taken and put into destitute homes. So that is the thing. It may, as far as Mental Health Care Act is there, one of the things is the patient, the moment he becomes okay, we can shift him over to a destitute home, which is run by an NGO or a government with due legal procedures.
I am Dr. Arul Prakash, Professor of Psychiatry, Kanyakumari Medical College. So, wonderful presentation and wonderful work you are doing. So, you told about higher level of functioning after rehabilitation and all. So, how far you are able to put them back to their own profession? Pre-morbidly, they might have been a teacher, engineer, or a doctor. So, what percentage you could succeed in putting them back to their own pre-morbid level of functioning or their profession?
So pre-morbid, like we are unaware about the pre-morbid history. Even if we are now trying on to give them an education. Okay, depends upon their previous education. So we have successful in one client, and now 2 more clients have been joined to a nearby college. So JJ Engineering College, which has been now converted to JJ Arts and Science College, which is just walkable distance from our institute, from our center. So hence, we are able to corroborate with them, and this online platform for learning is also advantageous, where we don't need to send the patient to the college. So we have a setup and where the patients can learn online classes, get a degree also. And
in some drug-naive patients and pre-morbidly, they might have been very well educated and all. I'm also associated with few homes. Some 10 to 20% are able to put them back to their profession. That's what I ask. Any percentage or anything? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Dr. I.R.S. Reddy from Vijayawada. Now, apart from the humanitarian and the social this thing, what are the law and order problems or the social issues that we can expect or we can predict from this wandering mentally ill, so that we can convince the police department or the governments that this is also a primary responsibility of the government and the police. So if you can highlight what are the other, like violence or crime, or what are the such things, what we can explain to them.
Sir, we had experiences in the form of a child being brought to us, and then women being pregnant to us, and then a mentally retarded child, or few cases of culprits also, and many cases of substance intoxication or substance withdrawal. So where we have to try to convince the police that this is not psychiatry, we have to sit and explain them that what all the conditions we take. Say for example, a violent, aggressive, manic patients, we are very well equipped to take, rather than an emaciated person who is there in the street, or a HIV person who is there in the street. We have even cases where the patients who are deserted in the government hospital, they have been brought to us. So there is a, sometimes there has become a huge lobby between the police and us. Okay, but still now police are very much aware, they are able to even differentiate between the psychiatry and non-psychiatry. So that's thing is that we have a regular probably meetings also with the police to explaining about basic psychiatry. So in that way we can take help of only, serve only for those patients who are disturbing public, rather than a person who is intoxicated and then who can improve within a day or so.
I'm Dr. Ashok Reddy from Hyderabad. Presently, probably as per your presentation, you're taking only homeless mentally ill.
Yes, sir.
That is patient probably picked up by your own people,
Yes, sir.
or brought by police or somebody. Sometimes the family members might bring the patient and then say, you just keep in your rehabilitation home. Are you taking those cases or not?
Yes, sir. We have few patients in that case also, but we have patients who are reunited and then brought back to us for readmission. And we have patients who are, we know the family, we know the address, we know where they are, but we are not able to send them back, because we know that, I'm sure that she'll become abused by the brother-in-law or someone else. And sometimes there is no family itself. They are in a very small hut or so, and we have patients who both the parents died, and the patient is living in a hut, and she is pregnant now. So someone has entered, and then, okay, she has been abused now. So these are certain cases wherein that's why we have around still 50 patients pending always. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It was an excellent presentation. See, there are many issues involved in this, legal, compassionate grounds and things like that. Yeah, one last question. Yeah, with that we'll conclude.
Purna Chandrika, Director in charge Institute of Mental Health, Chennai. And we consider ourselves the institute for the wandering mentally ill for all over Tamil Nadu, and I'm very happy that I came in last to see someone talking about this wandering mentally ill. And one thing is, we also have this district mental health program, which is a flagship project of Tamil Nadu, wherein we pick up wandering mentally ill from all over Tamil Nadu, and they are housed in 13 to 14 districts. But at the same time, our administrative officials are asking whether do you have a statewide policy for the wandering homeless mentally ill. So there is a meeting coming up for the policy for the wandering homeless mentally ill population. So I think that is supposed to be the need of the hour and minute, and maybe there should be a coordination. And as sir said, nowadays everyone is sensitized and they are bringing in, and we have problems ranging from what sir said and from what you said, all the problems we have faced up till a Supreme Court case. But once the policy comes up, maybe we'll see some more light on this topic, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have a job of giving the prize to the best question asked. It is Dr. Mahesh.
Thank you, sir. It was an inspiring session. Now I welcome the chairpersons to hand over the memento to Dr. N. Arun Kumar. I welcome Dr. M. Sunita to honor the chairpersons. Thank you, ma'am.